If you recently started watching one of the newest Netflix series, The Sandman, and walked away with questions or are confused about some of the things that happened, well, fret not, neighbor, we're here for you. We'll be explaining and exploring many things from this fantastical new series with you. Today night, we'll be talking about one of the main questions that wasn't directly addressed, and that is of the question of why Roderick Burgess summoned Dream of the Endless instead of his intended target of Death.
Have you seen any of the others since you've been back?
Have you?
We did have one family dinner when you were away. The twins were in high spirits. Desire was, but anyway.
With me gone, I have no doubt.
I don't know. I think Desire missed having their usual sparring partner across the dinner table.
This was actually answered toward the end of the first season, though it was a subtle detail with large rippling implications that you may have overlooked. First of all, we'll be referring to the Lord of the Dreaming Realm and the King of the Nightmare Realm as both Dream and Morpheus interchangeably in this video, as we likely will do so in videos to follow too. In the first episode of the Sandman Series, Season 1, we are introduced to Roderick Burgess. He is a wealthy man with heavy interests within the world of the occult. He was recently lost a son to a war and wishes to rectify this by using ancient relics and magics to summon and capture Death. He wishes to force Death to return his son to the realm of the living. Roderick isn't certain if this ritual worked the way he desired, as his captive does not speak to him nor respond to his inquiries. Burgess is visited by an appraiser of sorts, which is the Corinthian, who is escaped nightmare from the dreaming, unbeknownst to Burgess. It is revealed that Roderick's captured Dream, a sibling of Death. Now one could suspect Roderick of having made a mistake during his ritual and summoned Dream in Death's stead, or think he misunderstood the ritual to summon Death, when in fact it was designed to summon Dream or any of the Endless. These would all be fine theories and speculations, though we have an exact answer for you, neighbors, and it is no coincidence that Dream was captured instead of Death. Typically, the Endless are too powerful to be captured by humans or mortals, as they can be referred to in this series and other media. When Morpheus brings up the fact that Burgess was attempting to summon and trap Death, she explains to her brother that she knew of this already. She was too powerful at the time and could resist the spell if she was, in fact, the target. Roderick Burgess was well acquainted with Aleister Crowley, a well-known occultist who was an actual occultist in our history outside of the show. The reason I bring this up is that it is not clear whether Burgess got his information on performing the ritual through Crowley or some other source. However he came to possess such items and knowledge, it was apparently tampered with and altered, hence the summoning of Dream instead of Death. Who was behind this, though? Well, we'll tell you, neighbors. There's one element of Dream's capture that we won't go into here, as it is detailed in the comics and may or may not be canon within the Netflix series. Only time will tell. However, you don't have to know the comic books to find the answer to this question in the series. The comics can enhance or add to your experience of the show or story developments, in this instance with Dream's capture by Burgess. My point being that even though there is more I could offer on this topic, we'll stick to what the show offers us, and that alone. If you pay attention to a conversation Dream has with his sister Death after he is no longer in prison, as occurs in episode 6, she mentions that there was a family gathering of the Endless during Morpheus' imprisonment. Death recounts to her brother Morpheus that the twins were in high spirits. It is later in the show, during episode 7, where we see Desire and Despair, the twins Death referred to, having a conversation in Desire's personal chambers within her realm. It is there that they discuss a new plan, since the previous two didn't work out as they had hoped. One of the previous plans gone awry, mentioned in this scene, is regarding Nada, whom Dream was awkwardly forced to unexpectedly encounter in episode 4 during his journey through hell to meet with Lucifer. Nada in that plan to attack Dream is the subject of a whole other video with heavy spoilers, as the explanation behind this hasn't been revealed in the show at all during Season 1, only referred to and hinted at. It is unclear how this will play out in the show, whether it'll transpire differently or the same as in the comic. However, the other plan that was mentioned as failing was Dream's imprisonment by Roderick Burgess. It gets brought up in this scene, and Desire explains that was a diversion. What Desire means when calling Dream's imprisonment a diversion is that she was actually behind it. She was pulling strings behind the scenes that she was discussing with Despair to have Burgess's desire of capturing Death and bringing his son back to the realm of the living twisted and used for her own schemes against Dream. Burgess's plan was his own, and he was acting of his own accord. He didn't attempt to summon Death as a manipulation on Desire's part, nor was he possessed by anyone into having this idea and moving forward to enact it. No, this was his own intentions and designs. Desire simply was aware of this, most likely through the strength of Burgess's desire to have his son back, and she took advantage of the event folds.
I captured you according to the laws of magic. But it wasn't you I wanted.
I wanted Death to return my son, Randall, who died in the Gallipoli campaign.
If you give him back to me, alive and well, I'd release you.
Becoming aware of Burgess's plan, she ensured Dream would be the one in prison, especially at a time he was at a weak point, so that he could be captured. The details behind Morpheus' weakened state will be discussed later, as once again this is not a part of the series yet in Season 1. The point is that he was in a weakened state and capturable, more so than usual, which is as Desire timed it. Typically the Endless can't be subdued by humans so easily, so there was more work here on Desire's part in subtle ways, which Morpheus gives her credit for in the season finale once he confronts her about such. It can be confusing when Desire first says that Morpheus is free of his cage and that the plan failed. At another time, she says it was a diversion, as if it was intentionally a distraction to keep Morpheus occupied. Now, both of those statements are actually accurate. They are true. If Morpheus remained indefinitely in prison, then Desire can consider that a win, and his imprisonment would not have been a fail. Dream's freedom eventually came, yet the new plan Desire tells her twin sister Despair about is the plan she started while Dream was imprisoned, which was a backup plan if he did escape, involving a dream vortex. This plan almost worked as well, though for reasons you may have missed. We'll explain this plan more clearly in our next Sandman video coming soon. For now we know it was Desire's designs deterring Dream from discovering his downfall at her hands. She is not done, however, so we'll see more of Desire attempting to bring down higher powers upon her brother, like the Fates and the total destruction of the Dreaming. So it's not just Lucifer. In this situation, it was definitely Desire who had a hand, a subtle puppet work in the backgrounds, leading Burgess to take Dream instead of Death, not knowing the destruction and harm that would come from it up on the mortal plane. And with all this talk of gender swapping, no one noticed that they race swapped Morpheus right in the middle of episode 4?
You serious?
You're a weirdo, Rems.